next Hard Knocks training camp with the Houston Texans.
Every year it's always really exciting when one of the players will come into the season ticket office, kind of give everyone a pat on the back for a job well done. JJ came in last week and it was intense, we'll put it that way.
I will look up your season ticket.
You can talk nice on the phone at home. This is ticket sales. ABC, mother. Always be closing.
At first it was really cool, and then it kind of got a little weird. He would just see a security camera, he'd just start working out in the office.
Push 6, push 7, 48, 49, 50.
I guess we're just not used to having such an intense leader around the office.
When you're at home, you can take a nice low-key relaxing dump, but when you're in here, I want you to take the big in the world. Nobody comes to our house and dumps harder than we do.
I like to think he really made an impact.
What's that? Wow! Yeah! Yeah!
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple: C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you, because I probably am.
Howard Collins for box score.
Oh, those join us from the Rich Eisen show. Thanks, Susie. All right, this is the box score. I'm Brock in Los Angeles. They are the Danettes in Milford, Connecticut. Here we sit, gentlemen, 7 to 8 days away from the beginning of the NFL season, and the greatest quarterback ever to take a snap is still in limbo. McLovin, where does this rank amongst all preseason scandals?
Wait, Joe Montana's in limbo for what?
Oh.
I didn't, I'm sorry.
Okay, first of all, he's a Rudy denier. He goes down a step.
Not to mention system quarterback.
He's a Rudy truther, as they call it.
Oh, dude, all right, it's a big offseason. This offseason scandal, and I know people at this table disagree, but it's only bigger because we have Twitter, social media, and so much NFL media, it's insane. There have been 50 NFL offseason scandals.
Sure.
Now there's 65,000 NFL reporters waiting every minute for a fresh piece of content.
I thought the Michael Vick one was bigger.
That Vic was huge.
Vick's story was gigantic.
Yeah.
Big Ben was a big story. Peyton Manning, Favre retiring was a big story.
Peyton Manning,
Peyton Manning switching teams. Remember we were following the Jets around the country?
But those are different kinds of stories, though.
Yeah.
You know, those aren't really legacy ones. I mean, Michael Vick obviously is, but Peyton Manning switching teams. Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Where's Peyton Manning going to go? It's interesting. It's good, but it's not like, holy crap, the whole world
down
is
to 5,
dude,
to 3.
But there definitely was an atmosphere of huge.
There's a circus atmosphere, when Favre pulled up and there's a helicopter flying above his car, going back to whatever.
Yeah.
And then when Peyton Manning decides to leave and they show John Elway hug him on the tarmac in Denver, people are like, oh my God, you know what I mean? Because but it has to be a quarterback. I mean, it has to be a quarterback.
The king of all offseason, LeBron owned the off.
Sure.
Was the offseason? It's two different kinds of stories. It's a switching team story. And then there's the
scandal.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the LeBron thing turned into a scandal because of the way he handled it, I guess, or was it manufactured?
Very awful of him to think of the Boys and Girls Foundation.
But remember, people were
in
like
Greenwich.
People were trying
those poor kids. Don't have latte 24 hours a day. They have to buy their lattes.
They're very watery lattes too.
Rough to be those kids. Well, if you're talking Deflategate and you're in the New England area, certainly you know Tom Curran of Comcast, and he joined the show today to talk about how this is going to affect Tom Brady's legacy.
Probably galvanized even more in some ways because he was never a sympathetic figure, and now he has been made one. Now, I'm sure that that's not universal, but I think overall, when you look at the situation, certainly there are aspects of this that make you say, what, was there something going on really? But then when you look at the venom and vigor with which the NFL has gone after their best player of this generation, one of their best players ever, it's really made this player, who nobody would call a sympathetic figure.
You know, the reason we had Tom Curran on was because there was actually not a lot of news going on with this story, but a guy who we would have ready in case the story broke or some tidbit came out on it. But I knew Tom would be entertaining because he's just a natural entertaining guy, which is a real talent for being on a phone on a sports radio show, to be able to go back and forth with the host and be entertaining and not step all over each other or do long-winded answers, which are the worst. So he's a guy who could play back and forth and make some jokes and get serious, as you saw there with the topic.
He did well. Dan also asked Curran about the Patriots and as to why they would accept fines and draft penalties when they were convinced they did nothing wrong.
He plainly thought he was ingratiating himself and doing them a solid so that they would go easy on the quarterback once the appeal was heard. In San Francisco, Kraft, quote-unquote, reluctantly takes the punishment. At that same event, Roger Goodell says, I would love to see additional information from Tom. Now, Brady brings in additional information in the form of all his emails, 543 of which we've read many, all his text and phone records. Didn't bring the phone that Ted Wells said he never had any use for. And then they bait and switched on him and said that he destroyed his phone, which is a phone they never wanted, and they upheld the suspension.
There's only a handful of things now. Like, basically, this whole scandal has really been dismantled already. There's not a lot left that still holds up, except for a couple of things. And one of them is Robert Kraft accepting and the Patriots accepting that penalty, where it's like, why did you do that? Why, if you could take that back, so much this would be totally different if the Patriots hadn't done that. And it's a real kind of sucks now looking back that you're like, damn man, why'd you do that? Okay, the good of the 32, whatever that means.
You have to look at that one. I think you have to look at that two different ways. People can either look at it and say, well, Robert Kraft knew his quarterback and his equipment guys are guilty, and that's why he condescended or whatever. What's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? Forget it. Why he
consented.
Consented. Yeah. Sorry about that. And or you could say like he was lied to by the commissioner and told that, hey, I'm going to let your boy off if you guys pump the brakes now, take the hit, pay the check. I'll take care of him on the back end.
Yeah.
And then he was lied to, which it's one of those two things. And it's not out of my mind that Robert Kraft was lied to and doesn't want to say it out loud because he still has to do business with the people in charge of the NFL. It's possible.
It seems like people don't like Robert Kraft and the Patriots.
Well, nobody likes billionaires.
Within the no. Other billionaires don't like that billionaire.
Yeah.
I can't really figure out why. At least the two owners in Texas have come out and been like, we would never do that kind of thing.
Well, I think remember they're all billionaires, but one of those billionaires has a bunch of Super Bowl rings, and all these other billionaires can't buy Super Bowl rings. That's the one thing they can't buy: fame and Super Bowl rings. They bought fame by buying the team. You can't just purchase Super Bowl rings. It's the one thing. Your guys actually have to do it. And Robert Kraft, at the end of the day.
I'm going to play a little bit. John Mara was the NFL's witness, and he's sort of 2-0 against the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So, it's not a lot of guys. There are a lot of guys. I kind of agree with you. But I think it's more.
How many rings does he have?
He's got
it's a jealousy factor.
Five. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Or no, 4.
4.
But. Yeah, no, I agree with Seton that I do think there's definitely some animosity within the league. There's some league politics playing out, as Flores has pointed out many times. But I think they're jealous. I think there's a lot of jealousy towards the Patriots. I think the teams, the GMs, the Colts, and the Texans are pissed.
Well, I think, but yeah, I mean, they've been
Yeah.
getting beat by them all this time.
Yeah.
But I do think that it's probably one of those things where that sort of arrogance that the Patriots have as an organization is definitely coming back to bite them.
Yeah, a lot of missteps and mistakes involved in all this. Fritzy, what's the biggest mistake you've ever been involved with on a broadcast or a story?
Ooh, biggest mistake on a broadcast or story. I don't know. It wasn't. I've made a number of mistakes, but the one that stands out to me was something that I wasn't on the air for, which was very embarrassing when I was trying to get Sugar Ray Robinson on an ESPN TV show in LA. And I had an old number from an old Rolodex, and I spoke to this woman, his wife, who I didn't realize at the time was his widow, and I go through my pitch on trying to see when Sugar Ray Robinson could come on the show, and she very politely said, that's not going to be possible.
How deep into the pitch were you, and how did she stop you?
She let me do my thing, and I was very deep into the pitch, and she goes, that's just not going to be possible. And I said, is he not familiar with the show? Does he not do interviews or anything like that? He passed away several years ago. It wasn't even like he had just passed away recently. He had been gone for a number of years where there's really, really no excuse for someone that's supposedly in the sports broadcasting business that, you should have known that many years ago Sugar Ray Robinson had passed away. And I was trying to get a boxing guest. I don't know if there was some controversy in boxing. If there was a big fight coming up. Maybe it would be great to get a legend from boxing on. I got Sugar Ray Robinson's number here, and I'm calling the widow to invite her dead husband on the show.
Today we were talking about casting that movie, the concussion movie, and who should play the commissioner instead. And I had to Google. I was like, oh, John Goodman. I don't know why I thought John Goodman, but I thought he would be. And I had to look up first to make sure that he wasn't dead.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would have bet that I know he's alive, but I would have bet that he's alive.
He has made lots of good movies. Speaking of movies, we are going to talk sports movies next. If I was to remake one sports movie, it's going to be Days of Thunder. Who's my co-star? The Ram 1500 Eco Diesel. Out there crushing the competition with a boat in tow, that's right. And it does it fuel efficiently all the way to the checkered flag. Get more facts at ramtrucks.com. Guts, glory, Ram. Welcome back to the Box Score. Guys, today you talked about the movie Concussion, and you talked about great sports movies that actually impacted their sports. Now, Fritzy, young Jordan is about to ready to become a man. Have you sat him down and showed him the great sports movies yet?
We watched what I consider a great sports movie. We've watched all the Rocky movies. We've watched the Bad News Bears movies. I don't know if we saw the one where they went to Japan, but we saw like the Breaking Training and the original Bad News Bears. To me, those are great sports. We saw Hoosiers, which I had seen for the first time in its entirety very recently, which I know shocks.
Are you going to run
these
through
guys.
a list of all the sports movies you guys have watched?
Yeah,
Have you seen the one where they go to Japan?
I want him to see Rollerball. I don't know if that's. I always thought that was
rough.
a really good movie, but that may be a little too.
The original with James Caan, right?
Too young for that. Yes, the original one. And we saw Gus the Kicking Mule, which was a nice Disney movie about a horse that can kick like a 99-yard field goal.
Seaton, what sports movie had the biggest impact on your life?
Oh my goodness, I don't know.
Easy, Gleam in the Cube. Hello, probably.
Oh, you didn't go Rudy?
The best fictional skateboarding movie of all time.
Not Rudy?
Well, Rudy was a little later, and I was already so far down the, Notre Dame path that there was no coming back.
Is that Josh
just
Brolin?
Solidified everything. No. Gleam in the
Christian
Cube was
Slater.
Christian Slater. Yeah, and then a whole bunch of other people. I'm not really sure. Although like Mike McGill and Tony Hawk and Lance Mountain and all those dudes, all the Powell guys were in there. And I remember being really into it, and I hung out with a bunch of older kids who skated, and I saw Gleam in the Cube. I begged my parents to take me, and they took me, and then I went, and I was like, dude, I just went and saw Gleam in the Cube, and they were all like, dude, that movie sucks. I guess you're right.
Could've seen Red.
That movie's so stupid.
Hey, Paulie, if you could make a movie about one sports story, what would it be?
Well, I've always thought there should be a documentary about Jesse Owens and Luz Long. He was a German long jumper in his 1936 Olympics in Berlin. Jesse Owens, he fouled on his first 2 attempts to win the gold medal in the long jump, and he became friends with a German soldier who was also a long jumper. And I would guess in 1936 Germany, being friendly with Americans and an African American as well was not too popular publicly. And this guy, they became friendly during the competition all over the course of a couple days. And right before Jesse Owens' last jump, according to the legend, this guy Luz Long told him, he goes, just take off 6 inches further back. He goes, put a piece of chalk down. He goes, you're going to beat us all, even if you give yourself a 6-inch buffer. He goes, but if you foul, it's over. He did what he said, won the gold medal. They never saw each other again, and Long went off to war and died, and they never saw each other again.
I think that's a great movie.
That'd be a great story.
Now, you guys mentioned Rollerball, which had stellar sports action. McLovin, which sports movie has the best sports action within it?
Wow, that's a tough question. Most movies, I think, do a terrible job at sports action. Like, Any Given Sunday, the football was awful. Most basketball movies, except for Hoop Dreams, have terrible basketball.
And that's a documentary.
Yeah, good point. I would say the best sports movie. Geez, I want to go football, and I want to go. What's that movie where Jason Bateman was a wide receiver and Kathy
Unnecessary
Ireland?
Roughness?
Yeah,
Scott Bakula?
Scott Bakula.
What?
Yeah. No, I just love Kathy Ireland as the field goal kicker.
It's funny you point out the worst sports movie for action because you like
Kathy Ireland, though, is a Hall of Famer, though. Hall of Famer.
I'm going to have to go with Wildcats starring Goldie Hawn because it had Wesley Snipes, athletic.
Michael T. Williamson, Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson, very athletic.
Woody Harrelson, yeah.
Scat back.
Yeah. What was the quarterback's name? Bird?
Michael T. Williamson.
Yeah.
Call.
I have to put that on the Netflix queue.
All
All right, coming up, can we drink them or play ball with them? That's a tease, kids. Welcome back to the Box Score. It's going to be another scorcher out here in Los Angeles. And when the sun bears down like this, there are only two things you can do. Go to the ballpark or go to a local brewery. How about this? How about we combine the both of them? We go to a brewery, then the ballpark. How about we combine all these things and play a game called Brewer or Brewer? Yes, I'm going to throw you a name. You tell me
Brewer.
Awesome.
whether it's a craft brewery or a Milwaukee brewer. We will start with the front row.
Nice.
The brewer in question is Floyd Weaver, brewery or ball player?
That's got to be a ball player, right? Crafty veteran Floyd Weaver.
No relation to Jared.
No, not the actual name of the brewer, but the brewery, because there's Three Floyds Brewery.
Oh, well, yeah.
But not Floyd Weaver.
Okay, wait a minute. Is it the name of the actual person who brews it, or is it the name of the company or beer?
Both.
Thanks.
The
Thanks for
brewery
clarifying.
is named after
we're
the
gonna
owner.
go with the Milwaukee Brewer baseball player.
Is it a baseball player?
Gotta get out of this thing, guys. Get me out of here.
Yes,
You gotta get me
absolutely.
out of
It is a ball player. He was a pitcher in 1971. All right.
That was right. All right,
Yes.
we did it.
Back row. The brewer in question is Christian Moreland. Christian Moreland, brewery or ball player?
Well, look how they're spelling Moreland.
Yeah. Doesn't
it's missing
that seem like a beer kind of name?
An umlaut.
Yes, the
Like a-
M-O-E-R, that's very German.
Get a Moreland Light.
I don't see an MLB player spelling his name like
It
that.
has a German something.
That just
craft
doesn't.
beer or something.
Like, if it was a player, would the producers ever go with that guy? No,
No, it
it's
would probably
definitely
be Moreland, like
beer.
Keith Moreland
Beer.
spelling.
Beer, baby.
Name the beer.
They are saying it's
Christian
a
Moreland.
brewery.
Christian Moreland.
Absolutely Porma victory on that one. The Christian Moreland Lagers and Ales in Cincinnati, Ohio.
So did we get that right?
You're correct.
That's deep.
We got that wrong.
Front row, the brewer in,
Yeah,
in question is Bronsel Patrick, brewery or ballpark? A ball player.
Bronswell Patrick, I think, played for the Pale Hose. The Boston Braves.
Can't think of his
I
name.
think.
Ted Simmons or something.
Yeah, he platooned with Ben Ogilvy, I think. This guy.
I'm gonna go.
Him
I'm
and
gonna go
Gorman
brewery for no reason whatsoever.
All right.
not?
Is it a brewery?
Gotta get out of this thing, guys. Get me out of here.
I'm sorry, gentlemen.
get me outta
He was a pitcher for the Milwaukee Brewers in 1999.
Good video.
All right,
I
back
get
row.
it now.
The brewer in question
When it's a
is
brewer, they shouldn't.
Corey
I thought you
Nebel,
were-
brewery or ball player?
Sounds like a ball
That's
player.
like a ball player. To
Yeah.
me, too.
Nebel IPA.
We're gonna say it's a Milwaukee brewer, maybe like a little small infielder, second base, shortstop kind of guy.
Yes, is it a shortstop?
Gotta get out
Well,
of this
actually,
thing,
he's
guys.
both.
Get me out of here.
He's a current
get me
brewer
outta here.
pitcher and
He's
a
second
home
baseman,
brewer.
shortstop.
So
So you
congratulations.
couldn't get that one wrong.
Brewer.
Wow.
Great.
Homebrew.
Couldn't go wrong there. Awesome.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that guy. All right, front row, the brewer in question is Mike Hess, brewery or ball player?
Tim Leinenkugel.
Yeah.
Middle reliever Mike Hess.
Ted Budweiser.
He's a stocky dude, Mike Hess.
Mike Hess, yeah. He's,
Middle
yeah.
relief.
Texas high school
Mike
superstar.
Hess was in that trade for Johan Santana.
I used to drink Hess Ice when I was in college.
Yeah, it's ice.
Big Mike Hess. He's built like Charlie
The
Clifford.
triple Hess you could only get in Canada because of the alcohol content.
They made Cisco too.
Hessbach.
We're gonna go baseball player.
Is he a baseball player? No, I'm sorry. You need to go down there to the gas lamp. It's Mike Hess Brewing in San Diego, California.
Clearly Mike Hess Brewing.
Sorry, Mike.
Mike Hess.
Send some our way.
And finally, the back row. The brewer in question is Takahito Nomura. Brewery or ball player?
I'm leaning towards ball player. I think it's some kind of trick question.
Kieran.
No,
Kieran beer.
I would definitely
Asahi?
lean
Doesn't
towards.
sound
Shinha.
He throws a gyro ball. Come on,
It's one of
guys.
those gyro ball guys.
I would take pitcher.
We're gonna say.
No, well, like when you had too many, you say, "I'll have no more." Like if you had too many of his drinks.
Or you could have a.
Yeah.
I'll have a Takahito,
We're gonna
please.
lean towards Milwaukee Brewer, although we've got some interesting points about it possibly being a brewer.
Yeah. Is he a baseball player?
Gotta get out of this
Yeah, of
thing,
course
guys.
he
Get
is.
me outta
Milwaukee
here.
Brewer
You gotta get me out of here.
pitcher in
get out of
2002.
God, I wish we had the next 4 minutes.
Yeah,
Phil.
grab yourself a pitcher of Mike Hess Brewery.
I don't know what's going on with the
Okay.
Italian sausage.
Congratulations to the back row. You're all over this game,
Can you believe
surprisingly.
we lost that? We lost the
Baseball
game.
player or brewer. All right, this is the box
Big
score.
bitch over here
And we are
tonight.
taking a break to remind you that the Ram Heavy Duty, with its best-in-class towing, torque, and horsepower, doesn't need one. And it clearly knows the difference between a baseball player and a brewery. Drink responsibly. All right, guts, glory, Ram.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
Set. Oh!
Whoa.
Whoa!
Andy.
Whoa!
What?
Whoa!
What?
What are we doing?
What are we doing?
It looks like Forrest Gump 2.
Wow!
Oh, come on, we're coming back.
That's Forrest junk.
Woo, there's some white legs. We are closing up shop here at the Box Score Bar. Today, Greg McElroy joined the show today. McLovin, remind us why you had to wear his Alabama jersey.
That's a good question.
I would like to. I have no idea. I do remember that Chrissy Teigen and John Legend were in the studio that day. You know, the famous Chrissy Teigen and John.
She put it on later, didn't she?
She put on the Army
she was
jersey,
wearing an Army
the
one.
Army one.
which
Yeah.
rating spike for the.
I lost a bet about something.
Yeah, I think this was pre-Wheel of Punishment.
Yeah.
And I think McLovin just did something. He was just ordered to wear it because we had just gotten it in the mail a couple days earlier. I remember.
But yeah, that was the days where Dan could just say, "Hey, McLovin, put this on."
Yeah.
And then he
No
would.
question.
As before we had unions.
Well, McElroy is
I don't
looking
look
to
that bad.
McElroy is looking to join a large group of subpar athletes turned brilliant broadcasters. Think Bob Uecker, David Faraday, hell, even Dan Patrick for that matter. Paulie, what is it about being mediocre athletes that gives these guys great perspective?
Well, I think they may be a little bit less intense, and maybe I'm generalizing, but I think they have an awareness about themselves and a vision for their future. And they, like, if you're J.J. Watt, you don't have to worry about where your next meal is coming from. Or if you're Russell Wilson, you're probably not concerned. Or, you know, Tom Brady, those guys, they don't aspire to be broadcasters. But if you're a mid-level guy, like Kirk Herbstreit in college probably thought to himself, like, well, I'm not going to the pros. I better get something going. And Greg McElroy passed on a pro career. He could have probably played a couple more years as a backup. But, you know, 30 years with ESPN is better than 3 with Buffalo. And, you know, it takes a lot of guts to realize that early that this is not your long-term path.
Right.
But, you know, the top analysts, though, are Aikman, Sims, and Collinsworth. We're all really good players.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, if you're a top guy who also has talent as a broadcaster, you can just walk right over.
I think there's a huge difference though between what like doing in-game stuff is a lot different than being like an analyst
Studio,
off. Where you're sort of reacting to what you're seeing from people doing, like, oh yeah, look, they're gonna go over here and sweep
That's a
this,
great
and then
point.
you're really just reacting off of what you're seeing and explaining it. Whereas you're not talking about like this is why things aren't working for this team doing whatever.
While it's happening.
Which is something that Greg McElroy would end up.
Well, Collinsworth's much better in the game than he was in the studio with Dan.
Absolutely.
You know, I think he was with Football Night. I think he was in the studio at first. Yeah, much better in the field. It's a great point.
Well, Perloff, would you rather have the career of a great broadcaster or an athlete? Think Ken Griffey Jr. or Vin Scully.
Ooh, you had to throw Vin
smoke
Scully.
greenies.
That's 68 years of relevance. Oh, man. I still have to go great athlete. I would rather be a great athlete than anything else in life. That was always like, I'm the quintessential nerd who wished he was the quarterback. And that still hasn't gone away. So I'm going to pick Junior.
Yeah, I think if you asked Al Michaels after a couple of drinks, and if he's honest with you, if you said he could be the starting center of the LA Kings and a 10-time All-Star or have his career, I don't know what Al would say. And he's had as great of a broadcaster career as you could possibly write up. But I'll bet you he at some point wanted to be an athlete.
And do broadcasters have like great stories on the road about people waiting for the lobby girls
Yes,
in hotels and all that?
Yes, they do.
Not as much as
Nobody has as much as that.
I'm on TV. I don't have any of those stories. Wait.
Like the ladies will like
We're on. There's
Mel
difference between
Al-
being on TV and being a famous broadcaster. We
Here
are
comes Mel
technically
Allen,
on TV.
Stacey and
I don't think anybody in this room is Al Michaels. Not that
Yeah.
he has that necessarily, but this is awkward.
Charlene Hawks
Girls
can
get
barely
all
go to
worked
the
up for
grocery
Red
store.
Barber as he shows up to the line.
Red Barber.
All right, Fritzy, who's on tomorrow?
Pure Coxman.
We will be in the New York City Man Cave. Rick Neuheisel will be joining us in studio, guitar in hand, with a college football preview song. Eddie George, former Heisman Trophy winner and NFL running back, will be in studio. We'll catch up with Kirk Herbstreit, and last but not least, Peyton Manning will be part of the Thursday edition as well.
Why was it he left?
Fantastic. Hey,
just
maybe you
saving
could
for last.
book the cremains of a
Best for
formerly great boxer. Who knows? All right, we are back tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern right here on Audience Channel 239. Podcast available on iTunes or podcast1.com. Cheers.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer. My motto is simple. C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you because I probably am.
Hey, thanks for watching the box score. Holy cow!